The prison gates slowly creaked open, and Su Dong, his face adorned with stubble, strode out with purpose. The morning sun was slightly blinding as Su Dong squinted his eyes when he opened them again. Two elderly figures in their 50s came into view. Dad! Mom! Overwhelmed with emotion at their long-awaited reunion after 4 years, Su Dong felt his eyes moisten. Su Weiguo and Wang Mei, his parents, were already in tears, quickly closing the distance and embracing their son tightly. As Su Dong took in the sight of his father's gray hair and his mother's wrinkled cheeks, a deep sense of guilt welled up within him regarding their sacrifices. After exchanging pleasantries, Su Dong could no longer suppress his curiosity and asked, "Mom, why hasn't Songyu come to see me?" The root cause of Su Dong's imprisonment 4 years ago lay with his fiancée, Songyu. For years prior, Songyu's younger brother had fled due to gambling debts, which led a collection agency to confront the Song family. In a moment of panic, Songyu, wielding a fruit knife for self-defense, fatally injured one of the men. When Su Dong received the call, he rushed to the Song household. After comforting Songyu, he promptly called the police. Given that it was the collection agents who had instigated the trouble, the resulting death could only have been classified as excessive self-defense. However, unbeknownst to Su Dong, the deceased was the younger brother of the agency's owner. This owner ultimately manipulated circumstances to classify the incident as intentional homicide. Intentional homicide carries a prison sentence, and Songyu's family felt as though their world had collapsed. With Songyu trembling in his embrace, Su Dong heard her pleading for his help. In a moment of resolve, he declared in court that he was responsible for the death, taking on all charges in her stead. What was meant to be a joyous occasion of marrying Songyu had instead culminated in Su Dong voluntarily imprisoning himself. In the process, he irrevocably sabotaged his promising future. It was only recently that he had received an offer from a top pharmaceutical company in Kyoto, which had promised him a central city property upon his acceptance of the position. Regrettably, all of this was now lost due to his own actions. For 4 long years, the thoughts of his parents and his love for Songyu had sustained him through 1,400 days and nights. He had longed for the day he could step out in a sharp suit to joyfully marry Songyu. As for plans after his release, Su Dong had everything mapped out. Prior to his incarceration, he had made the acquaintance of a prominent figure in the pharmaceutical industry with extensive contacts, who had assured him that help would be available upon his release. Su Dong believed that with his talent in medicine, a bright future awaited him. "Son, how could that ungrateful Songyu possibly come to fetch you?" Wang Mai's frustration boiled over at the mere mention of Songyu. "You have no idea what she's." "Dear!" Su Weiguo interjected urgently, sensing Wang Mai's escalating emotions. "Today marks our son's release. A day of celebration. Let's refrain from discussing unpleasant matters." Incensed, Wang Mei exclaimed, "Why shouldn't I speak of it? If Songyu can act like a beast, I have every right to voice my concerns. Enough, let's settle it at home." Su Weiguo darkened his expression and pulled Wang Mei towards the car. Su Dong, feeling bewildered, hurriedly followed after, his mind racing with thoughts of what could have happened to Songyu to provoke such fury from his mother. A heavy silence enveloped the car as Su Dong observed his parents' grim faces, struggling to find the right words. Instinctively, he sensed that Songyu must have done something deeply troubling otherwise. His usually gentle mother would not be so upset. "Xiaodong, forget about Songyu. In a few days, your father will help you secure a decent job, and once everything settles, we'll arrange a few blind dates for you to meet a good girl." Finally, Su Weiguo broke the silence. Su Dong's heart sank. "Dad, what are you saying? Songyu is my fiancée, your future daughter-in-law." "What future daughter-in-law?" Wang Mei exclaimed in outrage. "The whole Song family are ingrates. Xiaodong, you don't know this, but during your 3rd year in prison, Songyu became involved with Yi Kai, and they're getting married soon." "What?" Su Dong felt as if his mind had exploded, leaving him in a state of disbelief. No wonder Songyu had barely visited him for the past year, and whenever they spoke, her indifference was palpable and brief. He could hardly believe she had become involved with his close friend Yi Kai. "Stop the car." Su Weiguo slammed on the brakes and turned to glare at Wang Mei. "Why are you telling him this now? Just as he's stepping out? Don't you think he's suffered enough?" "Old fool. Xiaodong is my flesh and blood. I'm more concerned about him than anyone. Songyu treated him so poorly that I could just as soon feast on her flesh and drink her blood." "Boo-hoo. As Wang Mei cried, Su Weiguo sighed in resignation. Xiao Dong, don't hold it against us for not telling you sooner. Your mother feared you would do something drastic upon learning the truth. After an agonizing silence, Su Dong finally regained some composure, his voice cold and steely. Dad, Mom, I need to confront Song Yu and get some answers. In that moment, he exuded an eerie calm, his expression dark as a storm brewing. You foolish child, what will confronting her achieve? Accept more misery for yourself. Wang Mei implored. Mom, I must do this. With unwavering resolve, Su Dong stepped out of the vehicle and hailed a taxi, directing it to Song Ye's home. Wang Mei, now furious, pushed Su Weiguo and demanded, You're just going to let him go like this? Weiguo remained silent, lighting up a cigarette, deep in thought as he watched his son disappear from view. At the Song household, knock, knock, knock. Su Dong, suppressing his fury, rapped on the door of the Song family home. When the door opened, he faced Song Ye's father, Song Dahai. Upon recognizing Su Dong, Song Dahai initially appeared stunned, but a smile quickly replaced his shock. Su Dong, you're out already. I trust you endured plenty inside. You should have let me know you were coming. I would have gone to check on you. Seeing through Song Dahai's feigned cordiality, Su Dong felt a bitter laugh bubble within him. Had it been in the past, Song Dahai would have warmly welcomed him inside now. There wasn't even an invitation to sit. I'm afraid it's quite unfortunate, Song Dahai continued, unfaltering in his smile. Xiao Yu has gone out and won't be back for a while. Perhaps you could come again another day? Then he'll wait here for her return. I have nothing pressing to attend to. As he moved to enter, Su Dong was stopped in his tracks by Song Dahai's arm blocking his way. What's the meaning of this, uncle? Su Dong's face darkened as he questioned him. Nothing more than a lack of welcome, interjected Song Ye's mother, Wu Yueying, who emerged with a look of disdain. You, a recently released murderer, shouldn't be here troubling us. What will the neighbors think when they see you here? Fuming with anger, Su Dong fought to keep his composure, replying, Aunt, Song Yu is my fiancée. I have every right to see her. And you call me a murderer? Have you forgotten that 4 years ago, I took the blame for Song Yu and chose imprisonment for her? One must have a conscience. Wu Yueying scoffed. You say you took the blame. Where's your proof? The fact remains that you killed a man 4 years ago and brought shame upon our family. That engagement is void. You should leave my daughter alone and pursue someone else. That's right, Su Dong. You should let go of our Xiao Yu, chimed in Song Dahai. You have no money or influence now, and your criminal record will make it difficult to find work. Xiao Yu would find no happiness with you. A murderer just out of prison has no place trying to marry my daughter. It's preposterous. Wu Yueying declared, dismissing him with a wave. Never come back here. Leave this instant. I sacrificed my promising future to save your precious daughter. I endured 4 years in that dark, oppressive cell. Do you even comprehend what I suffered during those years? Endless darkness, crushing loneliness, a despair you'll never fathom. What kept me going was the knowledge that a woman awaited my return, eager for my promise to marry her. But now, after my release, this is the outcome I receive. How utterly absurd. Su Dong trembled with rage, his fists clenched, his eyes blazing like an erupting volcano. Seeing this, Song Dahai braced himself, eyes fixed warily upon Su Dong, aware of the potential for violence. Meanwhile, Wu Yueying discreetly pulled out her phone, ready to call for help if necessary. Just then, a familiar voice rang out from behind Su Dong. No one forced you to take the blame for me. You did so willingly. Chapter 2. Settling the score. Su Dong turned towards the voice, only to behold a stunning woman clad in a resplendent red qipao, adorned with gold jewelry and heavily made up with cosmetics. This was none other than his fiancée, Song Yu. For years ago, she had been untouched by makeup, exuding the purity of a lotus blooming from a river. But now, she appeared overtly seductive, every move radiating allure as she nestled against the muscular chest of a tall man beside her. Song Yu Yikai, what is the meaning of all this? Su Dong's voice trembled with disbelief, his heart weighed down by a tumult of emotions. Yikai was not just Su Dong's close friend, he was a childhood companion with whom Su Dong shared an unbreakable bond. Although Su Dong had braced himself for this moment, the sight of his best friend with his fiancée shattered his defenses instantly. Well, if it isn't Su Dong, it's been a while. Yikai grinned, completely at ease, showing no trace of guilt as he wrapped his arm possessively around Song Ye's waist. Stop it, you're tickling me. Song Yu playfully swatted Yi Kai, her laughter echoing in the air. Su Dong clenched his fists, grinding his teeth in rage as he glared at Song Yu. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Song Yu echoed, a cold smile gracing her lips. Yi Kai is now the vice general manager at Huafeng Pharmaceutical, earning a salary of over $1 million. What about you? She paused for dramatic effect, then added with mock surprise, oh, right, you just got out of prison, right? They call it a labor transformation back into society. Let's be honest, you're just a murderer now. Oh, clenching your fists so tightly planning to hit me? Come on, little you, don't say that about Su Dong, Yi Kai interjected smoothly. He was much more capable than I ever was. Graduated from a prestigious university, received scholarships beyond measure, nearly landed a job at a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical company. If he hadn't gone to prison, he might even surpass me. Exactly, Song Yu shot back, her tone mocking. But you just admitted I was before prison. What is he now? Even a street vendor selling breakfast is more successful. At least they earn tens of thousands a month for their hard work. Su Dong's mother, Wu Yueying, overhearing, chimed in, it's funny Su Dong's parents really are selling breakfast now. Perhaps he'll follow in their footsteps. There's potential in that business. The crowd laughed, but their laughter seemed cruel rather than lighthearted. Regardless, they can't compare to Yi Kai, who has achieved so much at a young age. His future is limitless. Song Yu certainly has good taste, otherwise, she'd be stuck waking early just to sell breakfast alongside someone like him. Chimed in Song Ye's father, Song Dahai. As Song Ye's family derided Su Dong and extolled Yi Kai, it became clear that Su Dong was now a mere stepping stone, a tool to elevate Yi Kai's superiority in their eyes. Yi Kai basked in the overt ridicule, a smug smirk plastered on his face as he continued to flirt with Song Yu, seemingly reveling in the act of provocation directed at Su Dong. Huh. Su Dong suddenly let out a cold laugh, his fists relaxing slightly as he surveyed the scene before him. The absurdity of it all struck him as he faced a family trying so hard to please Yi Kai. What are you laughing at? Song Yu furrowed her brow, her voice sharp. In that instant, Su Dong's fury evaporated, replaced by a sardonic smirk. When I received that offer from a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical company, your family seemed equally eager to praise me. Didn't you? You. Song Ye's expression twisted in disbelief, her earlier smugness replaced by sheer embarrassment as her face paled. Behind her, both Song Dahai and Wu Yueying looked equally distressed, the awkwardness settling heavily in the atmosphere. Wu Yueying, now furious, could barely contain herself. Su Dong, how dare you claim we ever flattered you? You're simply putting on airs to paint yourself in a good light. Exactly, we've never done such a thing. Song Dahai echoed, his cheeks flushed with indignation. Uncle, Annie, let's not pretend it's rather beneath you. Look at how angry you are. And for what? If you push me too far, I might just turn out to be an ex-murderer who can't afford to compensate for any damage. Su Dong replied, sarcasm lacing his words. Wu Yueying was furious, her face turning an alarming shade of green as she lunged at Su Dong, fists ready to strike. Su Dong, don't go too far. Seeing the tension in the room, Yi Kai couldn't help but interject. He was aware of the praises directed towards him, and he knew Su Dong's barb aimed not just at Song Ye's family, but also at him. This could easily escalate into a loss of face for Yi Kai. Su Dong, don't push it, Yi Kai warned, putting on a veneer of authority. You should remember just how much I helped you get into Huafeng Pharmaceutical back then. They wouldn't know you without me. Su Dong's sneer deepened. Yi Kai, ask yourself if I hadn't referred you. Would you have found your way into Huafeng? The one who brings you water shouldn't dig their own grave. Now you're seducing my fiancé? Is this how you pay your debt? In ancient times, you'd be drowned for such betrayal, Su Dong countered, his voice low and fierce. Su Zong, damn you! Yi Kai roared, his anger flaring as he surged forward, ready to strike. But Su Dong was no longer the meek scholar he once was. After 4 years behind bars, he had transformed. With a swift block, he deflected Yi Kai's punch and countered with a forceful jab to his midsection. Ah! Yi Kai yelped, doubling over in pain, his body crumpling as he gasped for breath. Taking advantage of the moment, Su Dong gracefully delivered a kick that knocked Yi Kai to the ground. As he surveyed the trembling family of Song Yu, something shifted in Su Dong's heart. There was a flicker of pity for them amidst his anger. Su Dong, stop, or else, Song Yu stammered through quivering lips, clearly frightened. Or else what? You'll call the cops? Su Dong's inquiry hung in the air, heavy with meaning. When that sentence left his mouth, Wu Yueying recoiled, her finger poised to dial for help, apprehensively dripping sweat. Don't worry, I won't harm him, at least not mortally. He turned his icy gaze back to Yi Kai, delivering his ultimatum. Let me make this clear, Yi Kai, do whatever you want. I'll match you step for step if you push me. However, know this, they'll settle the score with you in due time. With those chilling words, Su Dong turned to leave. Relief swept through Song Ye's family, only for Su Dong to halt abruptly, glancing back at Song Yu. I almost forgot to return the jade pendant I once gave you. A woman like you doesn't deserve to possess it. Oh, it's just a worthless stone? You think I treasure it? Hardly, Song Yu replied, tossing the jade pendant from her bag, disdain painting her features. Su Dong hadn't anticipated the pendant's trajectory caught off guard. He failed to catch it as it shattered upon hitting the ground. Song Yu, it wasn't intentional, she feigned innocence. As Su Dong picked up the shards, grasping them tightly, a swell of anger bubbled within him, so intense he barely noticed the sharp edges cutting into his palm. As blood met the jade, an ancient pattern glowed warmly, revealing ethereal designs hidden beneath its surface. Suddenly, Su Dong was struck by a searing pain in his head, and he collapsed to the ground, unconscious. I am Chen Outyin, the ancestral master of the Heaven Physician sect. I have resided within this Songlong Jade for a millennium. Today, fate has brought us together, and thus, I bestow upon you my legacy, the Heavenly Medical Secret Manual. Upon mastering it, you shall heal the world and bear the fate of its people. An ancient voice echoed within Su Dong's mind, and he was inundated with a torrent of vast knowledge. As the information surged, his horizons expanded, illuminating the boundaries of his former understanding. Su Dong felt enveloped in an endless abyss of darkness, yet simultaneously, images of extraordinary sights flooded his consciousness, a paradox that left him both disoriented and enlightened. The essence of mystical medicine and rare techniques filled the void, spilling into his mind like the mightiest river. The experience was both excruciating and protracted, and though he couldn't ascertain how much time had passed, it felt significantly shorter than his torturous years in prison. Young man, you must restore the glory of my Heaven Physician sect. The voice resonated within him, and yet another wave of pain struck his consciousness, forcing a scream from his lips as he jolted back to awareness. Am I on the roadside? Su Dong blinked, realizing he lay near Song Ye's home, utterly unaccompanied. Those Song people are despicable. To leave me here alone. He internally fumed, gingerly rising, his mind racing over the enigmatic events. Could it really be true? The tale of the Heaven Physician sect, the extraordinary techniques, could it merely be a fabrication? But upon catching sight of the intact jade in his hand, he found himself frozen, shocked beyond belief. Could this actually be real? Contemplating, Su Dong closed his eyes, focusing inward, and was astounded his mind held the full text of the Heavenly Medical Secret Manual. This tome encompassed both mysterious cultivation techniques and healing methods, each detail stamped upon his memory as distinctly as a brand. It seemed impossible to forget. With a background in medicine, he found himself increasingly immersed in understanding the intricacies within the book. Just then, the ringing of a phone cut through his reverie. Glancing at the screen, he noticed it was a call from his father. Dad, what's wrong? Your mother has suddenly collapsed. She's in the First People's Hospital. Hurry. Chapter 3. 5 million for a cure. Dad, how is she? Su Dong rushed down the hospital corridor, spotting his father seated outside a room, anxiety etched across his face. The doctor has examined her. Fortunately, it seems to be just exhaustion. She needs rest, Su Weiguo explained. Yet the worry in his eyes was unmistakable. Su Dong exhaled in relief. Then, unexpectedly, a sharply dressed, middle-aged man burst into the corridor, shouting, Whoever can save my father will receive 5 million. As long as you can save my father, I won't go back on my word. Everyone here is a witness. His proclamation caused a stir, drawing everyone's attention. Curiosity piqued, people gathered, eager to see what was happening. Even Su Dong felt a strong temptation. After all, 5 million was life-changing. With that kind of money, his parents wouldn't have to sell breakfast on the street anymore. With his thoughts racing, he informed his father and joined the throng of onlookers. Inside the room, a group of neurologists hovered around an elderly man lying on the bed, his eyes shut and breathing shallow, seemingly drifting between life and death. After a while, one doctor emerged, looking helpless as he addressed the middle-aged man. Mr. Su, I'm sorry, but our further examination reveals the same conditions showing classic symptoms of being in a vegetative state. It's very peculiar. I believe that even the experts from Kyoto would yield the same results. This doctor was Zhao Weixian, the chief neurologist at the First People's Hospital, a highly dashing and articulate man who had honed his surgical skills to a fine point over the years. His response was veiled but direct. The prognosis was grim. The old man was beyond help. I don't care. The middle-aged man spat, his face reddening with rage as he pointed at Zhao. My father came here perfectly fine, yet something went wrong during treatment. You must cure him. Give me some answers, or he'll make sure you never work in this place again. Among the crowd, someone recognized the man, gasping in realization. Isn't he Su Bo? And the man on the bed is his father, Su Shanhe. The Su family? Which Su family? Came a confused murmur from the crowd. Are you referring to the Su family that is one of the 4 prominent families in Donghai City? The one that controls the entire North District? You mean its Su family? As the name Su resonated in hushed tones among the spectators, a sense of trepidation washed over them, fearing they might attract Su boss ire. In Donghai City, few dared to offend the Su family, known for their wealth and power, having fingers in both legal and illicit pies. Yet, despite their infamy, the patriarch, Su Shanhe, lay vulnerable, teetering on the brink of death. I'm afraid I truly have no solutions. At least not for this case. You'd best seek someone else, Zhao Weixian replied, raising his hands in resignation. If he had a solution, he wouldn't hesitate to provide it. That 5 million was more than enough motivation. Realizing their helplessness, the crowd awkwardly looked away, unsure of how to respond to the situation. As Su Boss' frustration mounted, he scanned the crowd, ready to grasp any shred of hope, when a sudden voice broke the tension. They'll give it a try. Everyone turned, parting instinctively as they sought the source of the voice. 5 million for the cure, right? They'll give it a try. Su Dong asserted confidently, stepping forward with assurance. Now holding the heavenly medical secret manual in his mind, he felt an extraordinary force coursing through his being, especially regarding healing. Motivated by the promise of money, Su Dong felt ready to test his newfound abilities. Zhao Weixian scoffed, an air of disdain clinging to his words. And who exactly are you to speak so boldly? Do you even comprehend Su Shan's condition? I suggest you reconsider. Youth alone cannot overcome skill. Unfazed, Su Dong replied, I possess the means to heal him. Zhao Weixian's laughter came easily. A seasoned physician, he had performed countless surgeries over his 2 decades of experience. No one could claim to surpass him in neurology. Where did a youth claiming to have no experience derive such confidence? What's your qualification? Which institution trained you? Zhao pressed. I'm not a doctor, but I have studied relevant knowledge, Su Dong answered plainly. Do you even have a medical license? No. And yet you dare to practice medicine? Who grants you such audacity? Do you know the consequences of medical malpractice? Zhao Weixian retorted incredulously. His derision was shared by the crowd. They were amazed someone without credentials would dare step forward. Even Su Bo, still perturbed by the chaos, regarded Su Dong with skepticism. Responding to Su Bo's hesitation, Su Dong insisted, Mr. Su, your father's condition cannot wait. If I assert I have a solution, I mean it. However, delay could prove fatal. Su Bo hesitated, worry etched in his features as he asked, You really believe you can do this? If you deceive me, are you aware of the repercussions? Su Dong simply nodded. As long as you honor the 5 million promise. At that point, Zhao Weixian sensed the air shifting, his patience wearing thin. Mr. Su, this imbecile has no credentials and seems to be spouting nonsense. Don't heed him. Your father's condition is beyond what even I can handle. What hope does this young fool hold? Zhao scoffed. Shut up. Su Bo thundered. His frustrations boiling over, he seethed. If you can't help, I don't need you. If you dare curse my father, don't expect me to be kind. Threatened, Zhao Weixian held his tongue, unable to say more. Fine, I won't impede you any longer. But remember, I won't take responsibility should anything happen, he warned, watching Su Dong with a mixture of disbelief and trepidation. Delay could cost lives, Su Dong reiterated with calm urgency. Then do as you please. If you can successfully stabilize my father, the 5 million is yours. Su Dong nodded in agreement and stepped into the hospital room, approaching Su Shanhe and assessing his condition. Suddenly, Clear information flashed in his mind. Current condition, comatose. Cause, poisoning Mihiunsin, a rare and peculiar toxin, colorless and tasteless. Difficult to detect once inside the body. Treatment method, 9 revolutions, returning yang needle technique from the Heavenly Medical Secret Manual. Understood. Su Dong realized the gravity of the situation. Without hesitation, he turned to the nearby nurse. Please fetch me a box of silver needles. Quickly, time is of the essence. The nurse hesitated, but then hurried off to comply, returning in no time with the requested needles. Silver needles? You intend to use acupuncture? Zhao Weixian observed, disbelief evident on his face. Do you honestly believe in such traditional nonsense? This isn't some fool's Arandial in danger, Su Shana. Ignoring Zhao's ridicule, Su Dong seized a silver needle, his movements swift as he deftly inserted it into Su Shan's Baihui acupoint. Chapter 4. The 9 Revolutions Returning Yang Needle Technique. As the silver needle descended, Su Shan's body quivered as if stirred by an unseen force. Noticing this, Su Dong pressed his 2 fingers together and forcefully jabbed them into the Shun Ting acupoint. Acupuncture? Pressure point manipulation? Zhao Weixian, unfamiliar with traditional Chinese medicine, scoffed at the mere thought of acupuncture and acupressure. To him, these were merely remnants of ancient practices, a quaint way to relieve tension, but utterly ineffectual for serious medical conditions. Seeing Su Dong approach with a silver needle, Zhao couldn't suppress a laugh. Is someone really believing that acupuncture could treat a comatose patient? He sneered. Sure, it might have some merit for post-recovery care, but to think it could remedy an ailment? Now that's pure folly. Su Dong remained unfazed, concentrating intently on his technique. Zhao, irritated by Su Dong's apparent disregard, opened his mouth to speak again, only to be silenced by a stern glare from Su Bo, who snapped, Director Zhao, if you don't wish to witness this, then please step outside and refrain from interrupting this gentleman's efforts to treat my father. Inside, Su Bo felt a twinge of apprehension and confusion about Su Dong's methods. Yet having chosen to trust him, all he could do now was wait. Zhao, unwilling to agitate Su Bo further, fell silent, drifting to a corner where he whispered to a nearby nurse, who quickly dashed away. Meanwhile, Su Dong, undeterred by Zhao's comments, focused on his task. With both hands deftly moving like a bowstring, he swiftly manipulated each silver needle, pushing them into their designated acupoints with the ease of penetrating soft tofu. In the director's office, Dean Li Diyuan was engrossed in a tattered ancient medical text when a nurse burst in, urgently exclaiming, Dean, you must come and see. Someone is using acupuncture for treatment, and Director Zhao claims he doesn't understand medicine and could be endangering lives. Acupuncture? Someone's using acupuncture? Li Diyuan exclaimed, momentarily startled, his curiosity piqued. Yes, acupuncture. You must come quickly, the nurse insisted. Skeptically, Dean Li followed her to the ward. As soon as he caught sight of Su Dong's technique, he gasped, the 9 revolutions returning yang needle method. Seeing the dean arrive, Zhao rushed towards him, not wasting time. Dean, you must intervene. This fellow doesn't even have a medical license. How could he possibly understand any medical practice? His use of acupuncture is reckless. He should be thrown out before he harms the patient. Zhao's resentment ran deep. Having been humiliated by Su Dong earlier, he sought revenge. In his mind, if the dean were to learn Su Dong didn't possess a medical license, he would certainly scold him and drive him away, restoring Zhao's pride in the process. However, the outcome was far from what Zhao envisioned. Dean Li's ire was directed not at Su Dong, but at Zhao himself. Be quiet. Do you even know what technique this young gentleman is employing? It's the renowned 9 revolutions returning yang needle method, legendary throughout history. If you hold disdain for traditional medicine, you should keep your opinions to yourself. You narrow-minded fool. Li's frustration was palpable. He had long been irritated by Zhao's arrogance. Now, hearing him speak ill of Su Dong only fueled his anger further, prompting an unrestrained verbal assault. As Li scolded him, Zhao turned pale, a storm of fury brewing within. Yet given the dean's authoritative position, he could only snort disdainfully. I want to see just what he can accomplish. If something goes wrong, we'll see who bears the consequences. Li Diyuan caught his remark, but chose to ignore it. Dean Li, Su Bo interjected, turning toward Li Diyuan, his tone more respectful, but laden with concern. Mr. Su, I assure you, given Su Lao's advanced age, This affliction was not unexpected. But this young gentleman's use of the 9 revolutions returning yang needle method may indeed save your father today. Oh, Dean Lee can discern the nuances behind this? Subo asked, puzzled. Of course. He initially applied 6 number 30, 1.5-inch silver needles into the Shinting, Ben Shun, Bai Hui, Shuanggu, Now Hu, and Now Kong acupoints to awaken the spirit and clear the mind. While this method isn't buried in secrecy, I can guarantee that based on his dexterity and precision, this young man ranks among the top practitioners in the world of traditional Chinese medicine today. Li Diyuan spoke with certainty stemming from his extensive experience as a TCM expert, having spent time studying acupuncture techniques and engaging with top professionals. A practitioner's capabilities were best evaluated by their foundational skills, and Su Dong's recent performance in terms of technique, speed, and precision had rivaled, if not surpassed, that of master-level acupuncturists. Moreover, it was the method Su Dong employed the 9 revolutions, returning yang needle, a legendary technique attributed to the ancient healer Hua Tuat Hat Li had only glimpsed in fragments before today. His enthusiasm was palpable as he watched Su Dong perform, not wanting to miss a single detail. Ah, that's good to hear. Su Bo sighed in relief. Until now, he had shared some doubts about Su Dong's abilities, but with Dean Li's endorsement, he felt reassured. Unfazed by the Dean's astonishment, Su Dong paused only briefly before his meticulous efforts continued. As Su Shan's body quivered in response, he swiftly positioned 3 silver needles, his fingers moving almost like a blur. Without touching the needles, he accurately placed them into Ren Zhong, Feng Fu, and Shinmin acupoints, ensuring the depth was precisely correct. Needling Ren Zhong, opening Feng Fu, closing Shun Min gentle insertion, firm retrieval, to awaken the spirit. What a masterful technique! Dean Li couldn't help but exclaim. Realizing he had spoken too loud and risked interfering with Su Dong, he quickly covered his mouth, almost appearing like a child caught misbehaving. At that moment, he no longer viewed Su Dong as a mere junior practitioner, but as an equal, earning his deeper respect. Acupuncture was a skill that required finesse. The right combination of force, accuracy, and speed could radically influence the treatment's outcome. The slightest tremor in one's wrist could discourage 99 of aspirants. Su Dong's earlier movements, quick and precise with perfect depth, had exhibited a fluidity that astonished Li Diyuan, making it clear to him that Su Dong's skills were indeed exceptional. As the saying goes, youth possesses formidable potential. Witnessing the dean's admiration, even Zhao Weixian began to falter. Could it be that this young man truly could remedy Su Lao's ailment? Impossible. Dean Li had merely been dazzled by Su Dong's flashy techniques. What relevance did the 9 revolutions returning yang needle method have in today's world? He convinced himself of this. At that moment, Su Dong grasped the final silver needle, focusing his energy with unwavering determination. Like a hunter meticulously eyeing its prey, he plunged the needle into Su Shan's Feng Fu acupoint. Ding! As the needle found its mark, the heart monitor beside the bed flickered ominously, and the screen went flat, indicating a heart rate of 0. His heartbeat has stopped. He's dead. A nurse gasped in terror, her hand instinctively covering her mouth. Everyone turned to Su Lao, and even Zhao Weixian checked for breath. There was none. The old man truly was lifeless. You! What did you do to Su Lao? Why has his heartbeat suddenly stopped? You must have deliberately harmed him. Zhao seized Su Dong by the collar, his voice a mixture of accusation and rage. Do not worry, he will be fine shortly. Su Dong maintained an unflinching composure, displaying no hint of panic. Fine shortly? I expect he will be dead instead. Zhao shot back with mock indignation. He strode to Dean Li, demanding, Dean, are you still going to defend him? He's demonstrated that acupuncture is utterly ineffective. Traditional medicine is nothing but a sham. Dean Li, what's going on here? Su Bo was now in a state of utter disbelief, his mind spiraling. Yet Dean Li observed the earlier scene without the slightest trace of concern. Instead, a smile crept across his face as he burst into laughter. Ah, this is wonderful. Was Dean Li losing his mind? Did the death of a patient elicit such joy? Could he possibly be deranged? Excellent work. Unlike the other's confusion, Dean Li admired Su Dong's technique. He approached Su Dong, bowed respectfully, and declared, Your needlework is truly unparalleled. In my view, only a master could rival you in this entire region. Old sir, you flatter me. May I know your esteemed title? Su Dong responded with a slight bow. I am Li Diyuan, the dean of this hospital. I must say, I've not witnessed such exceptional needlework in many years. Li complimented, his admiration evident. Meanwhile, Zhao Weixian could no longer hold back, interjecting sarcastically, "Oh, how delightful. This man has allegedly killed a patient, yet you laud him? What kind of absurdity is this? Traditional medicine is merely a fad. Be quiet. If you wish to leave, then do so. You show such ignorance and yet dare to criticize. The treatment is still ongoing. Don't pass judgment prematurely." Dean Li rebuked him sharply. Finally, Zhao could no longer contain his bitterness. Not finished? I shall see how he proceeds. Can he really bring the dead back to life? With that, all eyes turned to Su Dong, who closed his eyes and murmured 57, 58, 59. Suddenly, a silver needle appeared in Su Dong's hand, which he swiftly pierced into Su Shan's Zhongwan acupoint. 60. In that instant, the heart rate monitor surged dramatically. Chapter 5. An additional 10 million. The patient's heart rate has stabilized. 60 normal levels. The nurse exclaimed in astonishment. What? Zhao Weixian's eyes widened in disbelief as he scrutinized the heart rate monitor, hardly able to process the miraculous change before him. Dean Li, what just happened? Su Ba's voice trembled with incredulity as he turned to Li Diyuan. With a nod of concurrence, Li Diyuan explained, "This gentleman possesses genuine skill. Rest assured, Su Lao has been saved." Indeed, if Li Diyuan interpreted the situation correctly, Su Dong's insertion of that final needle into Su Lao's Zhongwan acupoint was the climactic moment of the 9 revolutions, returning yang needle method or returning yang. This technique temporarily induced a cessation of breath, but moments later, it would restore life, a resounding triumph of medicine over mortality. However, Zhao Weixian found this notion unfathomable. How is this possible? He should have been beyond recovery. How could a few silver needles yield such miraculous results? Zhao Weixian, you are suggesting that my father should be dead? Su Bo seethed. Realizing his tactless remark, Zhao clammed up, fearful of inciting Su Ba's fury. And so, under the watchful eyes of all present, Su Shan suddenly coughed violently, expelling a dark stream of blood, and opened his heavy eyelids, murmuring, "What is happening?" "Father!" Su Bo exclaimed, elated, rushing to his father's bedside and grasping his hand tightly. "This miracle was wrought by this divine healer. I am eternally grateful for your kindness, young sir. May I know your name?" Su Shan queried sincerely, performing a respectful bow. Su Dong answered simply. "Ah, so you are Su the divine physician," Su Bo exclaimed, diving into nostalgia, before producing a bank card from his pocket and offering it with both hands. "This is the 5 million I promised you. The entire amount is on this card." Su Dong accepted without pretense. After all, such funds could greatly enhance his family's situation, allowing his parents to live comfortably without the burden of labor. As he received the card, Su Bo seemed to recall something and asked, "Su Doctor, what caused my father's illness? Is there a way to prevent this in the future?" "Your father wasn't ill. He was afflicted by a rare toxin known as mihiyunsen, a most sinister poison which mimics a vegetative state," Su Dong explained calmly. "That's impossible. We conducted comprehensive examinations who found no traces of poison." Zhao Weixian interjected vehemently, stepping up once more. Su Dong smirked coldly. "Your ignorance is astounding. Mihiyunsen is a rare poison, colorless and tasteless, undetectable by modern medical technology." The gathering murmured with newfound respect, and even Zhao, witnessing the crowd's change in demeanor, fell silent. Poison? Could it be from the Sun family? Su Bo pondered aloud, connecting the dots. Donghai City harbored 4 prominent families, and both the Su and Sun families were notable players in the pharmaceutical industry. As rivals, conflicts naturally arose, especially considering Su's recent release of a new medication that significantly impacted the Sun family's market. Given the Sun family's less than savory reputation, it wasn't far-fetched to presume they could resort to such underhanded measures, a notion widely accepted within Donghai City. Su Shanha regarded his son thoughtfully, shaking his head without elaborating. Turning back to Su Dong, he expressed heartfelt gratitude. "Su physician, you have saved my life today. Should time allow, I'd be honored to invite you to my home." "Very well, I graciously accept your invitation," Su Dong replied politely before addressing Su Bo again. However, your father's recovery isn't complete. He requires a follow-up treatment in 2 days. Let's discuss a prescription to aid his recuperation. Su Dong took a pen and began drafting a detailed list of herbs along with preparation instructions. Thank you, Su physician. 2 days hence? Su Bo inquired eagerly. I shall return as promised, Su Dong assured him. Excellent. If you are able to fully restore my father's health, I will gladly offer you an additional 1 million as a token of my appreciation, Su Bo stated firmly, displaying a seriousness that dispelled any doubt this was merely a jest. 1 million. The murmurs rippled throughout the surrounding crowd. Initially, they believed the 5 million to be considerable. Yet Su Bo intended to add another million, showcasing the Su family's impressive generosity. Zhao Weixin's expression grew increasingly dark, his jealousy boiling over as he glared at Su Dong. Yet Su Dong maintained his composure, humbly waving a hand. Mr. Su, 5 million is already more than sufficient. Let's consider this a budding friendship. Surely you wouldn't mind having a powerless commoner like me as a friend? Of course not. It would be my honor to befriend Su physician. If ever you require assistance, simply let me know, and I will gladly oblige. Su Bo reassured him, thumping his chest in earnest. Su Bo was no fool. Knowing Su Dong could achieve such skill at a young age signaled remarkable potential for greatness. Li Diyuan, observing quietly, mentally commended Su Dong for his unselfishness. Such a character wouldn't simply settle, he was destined for significant achievements. Shortly after, trained medical personnel arrived to assess Su Shanhe, declaring him stabilized. Catching sight of the now retreating Zhao Weixian, Su Bo sneered. Director Zhao, weren't you just saying that even the experts from Kyoto couldn't help my father? How do you plan to explain your words now? He's no expert, especially not compared to this young man. Indeed, you claimed Su Lao was hopeless. What have we learned now? I wonder how you landed your position as director. Laughter erupted from the crowd, whose disdain for Zhao was no secret. His dismal reputation for ethics left much to be desired, and seeing him humbled was a sweet pleasure. Zhao Weixin's face contorted through a spectrum of emotions as he simmered with rage and embarrassment. Realizing engaging further would only exacerbate his humiliation, he hightailed it out of the room. Pfft, quack! Su Bo spat, then turned to Su Dong, offering a business card. Su physician, please accept this. Is my card take it? Su Dong took the card and smirked when he saw it bore the title president of Huafeng Pharmaceutical Group. Su physician, tomorrow night, there will be a banquet at Mingzhu Hotel. I hope you can join me. Su Bo proposed enthusiastically. Declining politely, Su Dong replied, I can manage to arrive on my own tomorrow. There's no need to trouble yourself for me. Su Bo acquiesced, not pressing further. Su Dong, I am the president of the Donghai Medical Association. It would be my honor to invite you to join us, Li Diyuan interjected, taking the opportunity to extend an offer. The Medical Association. It seems Dean Li holds this young man in high regard. Indeed, how surprising. One doctor gasped, astonished. Indeed, inviting him is no small matter. Another physician echoed, envy tinging his tone. The Donghai Medical Association was exclusive, not easily accessible, even for esteemed professionals like Zhao Weixian, who only recently became eligible for membership. Thus, the invitation extended to Su Dong after saving Su Shanhe was nothing short of extraordinary. Su Dong clasped his hands. In that case, I would be honored to accept your offer. Having been granted a second chance, he was eager to seize every opportunity to expand his network. Fantastic. I shall make arrangements immediately, Dean Li exclaimed jubilantly. Su Dong nodded, then turned to Su Bo, reiterating, ensure your father adheres to the medication regimen I provide for proper recovery. I will return in 2 days for treatment. Thank you, Su physician. Please ensure Su Lao rests well. I must attend to other matters now, so will take my leave. With that, Su Dong prepared to depart, followed closely by Dean Li, who saw him to the door. As Su Dong neared the exit, he spotted his father, Su Weigua, standing at the entrance, a shocked expression plastered across his face. Chapter 6. Indeed a good thing. Xiao Dongyu. Su Weigua stood at the door for a long time, having witnessed the scene where Su Dong used the silver needles to save a life, and now he couldn't find the words. Dad, I'll explain everything when we get home. It's a bit complicated. Su Dong stepped forward and spoke softly. I take it this gentleman is Mr. Zu's father? You've done an exceptional job raising such an outstanding son, Li Diyuan remarked, respectfully bowing to Su Weigua. Su Weigwa was still a bit dazed, his disbelief evident. Was that really my son back there? Indeed. Old Mr. Su was thought to have no hope, but thanks to Mr. Zu's remarkable skills, using the 9 revolutions returning yang needle method, he was revived. Such talent puts even me to shame. You truly have an impressive son, Li Diyuan replied, extolling Su Dong's abilities. Feeling a swell of pride, Su Weigwa patted Su Dong's shoulder enthusiastically. After a moment, he finally managed to speak. Good, good, very good. You've made something of yourself. I knew you were bound to shine like gold, no matter where you went. Dad! Su Dong felt a little moved. Let's go. Your mother has awakened, we're going home. Su Weigwa exclaimed, his excited tone barely concealing his joy. Initially, he had feared that Su Dong would be downcast over Song Yes issues, but witnessing his son save a life had dissipated those worries completely. Afterwards, Li Diyuan personally escorted the Su family out of the hospital and arranged for his driver to take them home. Dean Li, thank you very much, Su Dong said from inside the car. Not at all, just drive safely. Dean Li smiled in response. Inside the vehicle, Su Weigwa animatedly recounted the scene of Su Dong saving a life to Wang Mei. Wang Mei, upon hearing the story, looked at Su Dong with delight, praising her son for his accomplishments. Back at home, Wang Mei prepared a feast to celebrate the family's reunion. At the dinner table, Su Weigwa's gaze remained fixated on Su Dong, a sense of suspicion nagging at him. Xiao Dong, is there something you're hiding from us? I remember you didn't know anything about medicine before prison, he questioned directly. Yeah, Xiao Dong, did something happen during those 4 years in jail? Wang Mei echoed, concerned. As Su Dong's parents, they knew him well. Suddenly possessing such medical skills could only mean something significant had occurred during his imprisonment. Su Dong, seemingly prepared for this line of questioning, explained, I met an experienced Chinese medicine doctor in prison. He was incredible. Aware he wouldn't leave, he wanted to pass on his medical knowledge, and since I have a good aptitude for it, I learned everything he taught me. Really? Wang Mei asked, excitement in her voice. Really? Su Dong affirmed confidently. Though a slight nervousness stirred within him, he was lying for the first time. Yet, Su Weigwa and Wang Mei seemed not to notice. Their fingers intertwined in excitement as they exclaimed, This is wonderful. Our family has finally produced someone remarkable. Indeed, our hardships have finally come to an end. All those years of struggles have not been in vain. Their eyes glistened with tears of joy. Seeing their emotional response, Su Dong hurriedly comforted them. After they calmed down, he took out the bank card Su Bo had given him and handed it to Wang Mei. Mom, the money from treating old Mr. Su is all on this card. You can spend it however you like. These past years, the parents had endured much due to him, and now that he had money, he was eager to share. However, Wang Mei cherished the card like a treasure and declared, Spend? No, save it for your wedding house. With our family stabilizing now, even women like Song you will need to court us. Your mother is right. Huh? Joy filled the room as laughter rang out. After the meal, Su Dong inquired about the jade pendant, but his parents only knew it was passed down from his great-grandfather, found randomly at a market. Once he heard that, Su Dong did not press further. Later that night, he settled into his room to meditate, recalling the principles of the heavenly medical scriptures, beginning a night of cultivation. The heavenly technique was composed of 10 levels, and Su Dong was currently at the first level, merely a novice. Before long, a warm current flowed through his lower dantian, the area of energy storage, circulating through his limbs, filling him with a profound sense of comfort and refreshment truly remarkable. After a night of cultivation, he felt fully energized. The next day, Su Dong ran laps around the neighborhood, completing around 10 laps, approximately 8 or 9 kilometers without the slightest fatigue, not even a drop of sweat. Indeed a good thing, Su Dong couldn't help but marvel. The entire day, he remained indoors, practicing the heavenly technique and reading medical texts tirelessly. Only later did he conclude his training and make his way to Mingzhu Hotel. Mingzhu Hotel was the largest and most luxurious 5-star hotel in Donghai City, fully booked to host a business banquet. Due to the high standards of the event, small companies were not even on the guest list. As he gazed at the luxury cars parked outside and the clamor of business elites inside, Su Dong couldn't help but feel a twinge of nostalgia, reflecting on how, had he not taken the fall for Song Yu years ago, he would certainly be among them. Shaking his head, Su Dong approached the hotel entrance. However, One of the security guards stepped forward, stopping him. "Sir, may I see your invitation?" "Sorry, but I don't have one. Mr. Su invited me," Su Dong replied. The guard scrutinized Su Dong, taking in his unremarkable attire, and instantly displaying a look of disdain. He coldly inquired, "Which Mr. Su?" "Mr. Su Bo from Huafeng Pharmaceuticals," Su Dong stated. Hearing the name, the guard couldn't help but chuckle. "Huh, you? Mr. Su would invite you? What a joke! You think dressing in street wear means you belong here? I've seen many like you hurry up and get lost." Having dealt with enough wannabes trying to trespass into high society events, he naturally associated Su Dong with them. Even a short, stout man about to enter couldn't hold back his derision, sneering, "Humph. A poor loser claiming to have been invited by Mr. Su? What a laugh." Exactly. Every year, you'll find a few shameless people like this, just like clowns. Get lost. Don't block our way. Laughter and jeers erupted from the crowd, giving Su Dong scornful looks. "Mr. Su is my guest. You'll see who dares to chase him away." Suddenly, a voice rang out, and everyone turned to see Su Bo approaching. Chapter 7. Who is the clown? Su Bo stepped before Su Dong, his expression icy as he glared at the crowd. The guard, seeing Su Bo arrive, felt both shocked and fearful. Before he could speak, Su Bo's angry voice resonated in his ears. "Mr. Su is my friend. How dare you insult him? Apologize at once." Hastily, the guard bowed to Su Dong, trembling. "Su, please forgive my earlier lack of judgment." "It's all right, it's not a big deal, let's just go inside." Su Dong replied casually, unperturbed by the earlier incident. After all, people like that were abundant in society. There was no need to stoop to their level. This time, Mr. Su graciously overlooks your disrespect. In the future, keep your eyes open. Yes, of course," the guard stammered in response. However, just as they were about to step inside, Su Bo suddenly turned back, his gaze cold and sweeping over those who had mocked Su Dong, causing them all to lower their heads, too intimidated to look further. With a disdainful snort, Su Bo and Su Dong entered the hotel together. Whispers swirled among the crowd, many in disbelief over what had just occurred. Does that kid really know Mr. Su? But he's only dressed in streetwear. Some big shots prefer to be understated. Perhaps that young man is from an influential family. If he had no background, would Mr. Su treat him with such respect? Good point. We should be careful not to offend him in the future. As the crowd speculated, they recognized that Su Dong was no ordinary character. Inside the banquet, Su Bo raised his glass to clink with Su Dong's. "Just a bunch of jumping clowns. I hope you don't mind their nonsense." Su Dong nodded. "I've seen worse. It's nothing." "Good. I need to greet a friend." "You enjoy yourself." "Go ahead." Su Dong lightly swirled his drink, observing the ruby-red liquid, lost in thought. "It's been so long since I last drank. The last time was before I went to prison." He chuckled to himself, feeling a poignant mix of nostalgia and change. Just then, a familiar voice called from behind. "Su Dong? What are you doing here?" Su Dong turned to see Yi Kai and Song Yu approaching, both dressed formally, indicating their attendance at the banquet. Su Dong shot them a mocking smile. "Looking good. I see you're healthy enough to attend a banquet." "Humph. Su Dong, don't try to divert the topic. We were formally invited to this banquet. You must have snuck in, right? I doubt you made the guest list. Who would invite a killer like you?" Yi Kai's words dripped with condescension as he heavily emphasized killer, his tone loud enough that many turned to stare at Su Dong. Some of the more timid waitresses, overhearing the term, dropped their trays in fright, letting out startled gasps. "This guy is Su Dong, the one who borrowed money and then stabbed the collector to death. He just got out yesterday and somehow squeezed into this banquet," Yi Kai declared, as if making a grand announcement. "Looks can be deceiving. Who would have thought he'd turn out to be a killer?" "Exactly. A person like him can do anything. We should keep our distance." Many fled the scene, wary of Su Dong, some even calling for security. Su Dong, arms crossed, replied with a chilling smile. "Yi Kai, have you ever heard the saying, 'Don't judge a book by its cover'? Just because you got invited doesn't mean I can as well." "You claim you were invited?" "Huh?" Yi Kai burst into laughter, pointing at Su Dong and asking, "Who invited you? I want to see who dares bring a killer in here. Let them come out." "Exactly. Who would dare bring a killer into this banquet? That's a death wish." Someone chimed in, echoing Yi Kai's sentiment. Many in the room knew who Yi Kai Wash was, the general manager of Huafeng Pharmaceutical Group, a high-profile position that everyone recognized. With the crowd backing him, Yi Kai felt emboldened, looking at Su Dong with a sardonic smile. Why don't you get lost? If I have to summon someone to deal with you, I'll only make things worse. Oh, you think ITLL be that easy? I'd like to see you try. Su Dong shot back defiantly, just as Su Bo approached with a stern look on his face. Mr. Su is my benefactor and my brother. I want to know who dares to slander him as a killer. In an instant, the entire venue quieted down. A killer? Oh wait, this young man was actually invited by Su Bo. And even more, he was Su Bo's brother? How could this be possible? Ye Kai, upon hearing this, was utterly flabbergasted. Su Dong a killer? How had he not known that? When no one spoke up, Su Bo's icy gaze landed on Ye Kai. Ye Kai, have you gotten carried away just because you recently became the group's vice president? You dare to chase away someone I invited? Will you try to remove me next? No, Su, I didn't know Su Dong was your brother. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. Slap. Before Ye Kai could finish, Su Bo slapped him hard across the face. Starting tomorrow, you're no longer needed at the company. Your time with us has come to an end. At those words, Ye Kai trembled, quickly grasping Su Bo's clothing in desperation. Su, please don't fire me. I've done so much for the company, you can't just dismiss me like that. Ye Kai had fought hard for this position, his future depended on it. Being removed would send him back to a life he didn't wish to revisit. Reasons? You think I need them? Don't think I'm unaware of your recent dealings with the Sun family. Are you prepping to be a corporate spy? Ye Kai shuddered. Su Bo's comments felt like a freezing cold water dousing over him. So I didn't. Su Bo waved him off. Let's skip this. I've already shown you mercy by not turning you in. At this point, Ye Kai fell to his knees before Su Dong, sobbing openly. Su Dong, I was wrong. It was all my fault. Please ask Su to spare me. Please. Seeing Ye Kai's terrified face, Su Dong felt no pity. Instead, he experienced a rush of satisfaction. To reap what you sow is just... Then Su Bo signaled to the security personnel, who promptly began to escort Ye Kai out. Please don't. Su Dong, Su, don't do this. Don't fire me. Help me. Don't. As Ye Kai's cries grew fainter, the venue settled into silence once again. Who else wants to chase Mr. Su away? I'm here now. Let's see who has the guts. Su Bo's voice rang out. The previously loudmouth crowd grew quiet, especially since even Ye Kai had been expelled. Who would dare speak out now? Some even internally thanked their lucky stars that they hadn't belittled Su Dong. They could easily have shared Ye Kai's fate. How could this happen? Song Yu murmured, dumbstruck. To her, the scene she had just witnessed felt like a surreal dream, disbelievable in every sense. She never expected Su Dong would know Su Bo, the president of Huafeng Pharmaceutical Group. Now, she regretted leaving Su Dong for Ye Kai. If things had turned out differently, perhaps she would have earned respect as Su Dong's partner, getting to hear Su Bo call her sister-in-law. Looking at Su Dong, who now had a promising future, she felt lost, noticing the opportunities she had missed to be with someone so much better than Ye Kai. Realizing this, she hurried over to Su Dong and embraced him tightly, her voice quivering. Su Dong, I'm sorry. It was all Ye Kai's fault. You know our family has no power. How could we possibly stand against him? My heart has always belonged to you. Let's get back together, please. Facing her desperate apology, Su Dong felt no emotion. He pushed her away and asked, Song Yu, am I a killer? No, you're not, she cried, her eyes full of tears. Then tell everyone here what truly happened 4 years ago. Who is the real killer? Su Dong's voice grew colder. Speak the truth, and I may consider forgiving you. Chapter 8. The farce concludes. Song Yu was momentarily dazed, wondering if revealing the truth from 4 years ago before everyone would be her downfall. However, if she remained silent, she would never gain Su Dong's forgiveness. He was an invaluable ally, and if she could secure his support, what did she have to fear about the future? After all, what was a mere reputation compared to her rekindled relationship with Su Dong? With the Su family backing her, who would dare to whisper behind her back or point fingers? After a brief moment of weighing the pros and cons, regret flashed across Song Ye's face. I am the murderer. I'm sorry, Su Dong, it's all my fault. 4 years ago, it was I who accidentally took a life. Had it not been for your compassion and the effort to shield me from the consequences, I wouldn't be standing here today. I had intended to marry you upon your release, but unexpectedly, that Ye Kai threatened me, declaring that if I didn't comply with him, he would expose the truth. With tears streaming down her face, Song Yu painted herself as the innocent victim, transferring all blame to Ye Kai. Su Dong merely chuckled. Though his smile was chilling, he truly hadn't realized that Song Yu could wear such dual masks. Every guest at the gathering was astute. The pitiful narrative Song Yu wove held no sway over them. This woman is truly heartless. Mr. Su extended his kindness by taking the blame. Yet she not only turned to another man, but also insulted him in return, truly less than a beast. She's utterly ungrateful. Mr. Su stood by you when you were down and out, and instead of gratitude, you dealt him a greater blow. It's shameless. Mr. Su is indeed benevolent. No wonder he is a friend of Mr. Su. The surrounding guests gathered, offering compliments, and Su Bo regarded Su Dong with newfound respect, unable to hold back his approval. This young man embodies the very essence of the benevolent physician, sacrificing for the one he loves, truly a man of character. Enduring hardship makes a person extraordinary. This gentleman's future achievements will undoubtedly be remarkable. Su Dong responded with a smile and a nod, though he knew that their praise was merely an attempt to curry favor with Su Bo. Nevertheless, he believed that one day, these individuals would offer him genuine accolades. He would not wallow in this moment of disappointment. After all, he possessed the heavenly physician's scripture, brimming with confidence. Song Yu, however, was unfazed by the reactions of others. All she needed was to secure Su Dong's support. Su Dong, I've done what you asked. You should fulfill your promise now, right? Can you forgive me? I've wronged you, but you've always been in my heart. Let's reconcile, shall we? What do you think? How can you shamelessly come to me for forgiveness? After I was incarcerated because of you, you turned around and got involved with Yekai. And after my release, you tortured me relentlessly. What makes you think I would ever forgive you? Su Dong narrowed his eyes, the disdain in his gaze completely unmasked. He should consider himself fortunate to have seen through the true colors of this woman just in time. No, Su Dong, you've misunderstood. It was all Yekai's demands. If I didn't comply, he would destroy me. Then why are you speaking up now? Su Dong retorted coldly. Song Yu, all you desire is wealth and status. Spare me the sob story if you're not embarrassed. Then I am for you. Su Dong, you're going back on your word. You clearly promised me that as long as I told the truth from 4 years ago, you would forgive me. Song Ye's face paled as Su Dong's insults resonated in front of the crowd, causing her to lose all dignity. If Su Dong refused to forgive her and restore their connection, how could she possibly navigate life in Donghai City from then on? Su Dong's laughter held no warmth, only derision. Song Yu, you caused me to languish in prison for 4 long years. Do you even comprehend the darkness I endured? Do you know the pain I endured just to survive until today? You are utterly oblivious, and you betrayed the man who cared for you. I could never forgive you, not in this lifetime. Now leave. How can you speak so casually? Song Yu stood frozen for a moment, tears flowing down her once radiant face, smudging her carefully applied makeup. Hearing this, Su Dong's smile grew more mocking. It seems the one who doesn't keep their word is you. You were supposed to marry me upon your release. What did you do instead? You adorned me with an enormous green hat and still expect my forgiveness? Who do you think you are? You! How could you treat me like this? Song Yu was taken aback. Wasn't Su Dong supposed to love her the most? Initially, when she pleaded desperately, he softened and bore the blame of murder for her. She had thought that Su Dong would always love and protect her, but unexpectedly, this man had changed just like that. Security, get this madwoman out of here. Yes, Mr. Su. The surrounding security quickly moved in, grabbing Song Yu and escorting her away. She struggled, but they showed no pity, forcefully dragging her out of the venue. It was merely a farce. There's no need for anyone to take it to heart. Let the gathering continue, Su Bo declared blandly. The guests responded with smiles, nodding in agreement. Regardless of their status, none dared to act out of line before him. Mr. Su, my sincerest apologies for the unpleasantness tonight. It was my mistake to invite you to this gathering. Su Bo expressed genuine regret, aware of Su Dong's significant favor towards the Su family. He had intended to show sincere gratitude, yet a momentary lapse had inadvertently soured Su Dong's mood as failure. No harm done, it was merely a coincidence, Su Dong replied with a smile and a shake of his head. He was not one to hold grudges, and this incident couldn't be blamed on Su Bo. Su Bo smiled gratefully and shifted the conversation to other matters. I truly did not expect Mr. Su to be so noble, enduring unjust suffering for the sake of the woman he loves, enduring pain that others could hardly withstand. As Su Bo spoke, his gaze was sincere, filled with genuine admiration. "Ah, I merely acted foolishly," Su Dong replied with a self-deprecating smile. He had no desire to relive the events of 4 years ago, but couldn't help but attract those who sought to belittle him. Yet this time, he would demonstrate that he was no easy target to be pushed around. "Indeed, sometimes good deeds go unrewarded," Su Bo mused, causing Su Dong to glance at him in surprise, wondering if this Su family leader harbored his own story. Clap, clap, clap. A sudden burst of applause rang out, and all turned to see a middle-aged man in a well-tailored suit approaching with a smile. This man was Sun Jinghao, the president of Qinglong Pharmaceuticals, a subsidiary of the Sun family. Chapter 9. Sun Jinghao's Probe. Chairman Su truly exhibits great authority, Sun Jinghao remarked with a sarcastic clucking of his tongue. "As I understand it, Yekai has been a long-standing associate of yours, correct? To dismiss a loyal servant who has labored for your Huafeng Pharmaceuticals simply to appease your friends is quite an eye-opener, I must say." Su Boss' expression darkened. "Mr. Sun, this is a private matter for Huafeng Pharmaceuticals and has nothing to do with you." The two men locked gazes, and an atmosphere crackled with tension, as if electricity pulsed through the air. "Mr. Sun has arrived. This could get troublesome. When titans clash, it's the bystanders who suffer best to keep your distance." Guests around them exchanged apprehensive glances and instinctively took a step back. According to the popular adage, rivals emerge from the same industry, and the long-standing feud between the Sun and Su families reached back many years. In the past, they had managed to restrain their mutual animosity, keeping discontent within reasonable bounds. However, with the recent success of Su's new drug in the market, a resounding triumph that had struck a serious blow to the interests of the Sun family, their rivalry had escalated dramatically. The metaphorical meat that had seemed close at hand was snatched away, leaving the Sun family far from satisfied, prompting overt hostility towards Su. Now, Sun Jinghao, bold as ever, launched his verbal assault. Had the circumstances been different, it seemed he might have resorted to violence. "Indeed, it is your family's affair," Sun Jinghao replied with a cold smirk. "Nonetheless, while riches are easy to come by, good horses are a rarity. If you no longer require Yekai, I shall gladly take him off your hands." "Thank you, Chairman Su, for your consideration." He had little regard for Yekai. The expulsion of an old employee would inevitably tarnish Su Boss' reputation, leaving him open to accusations of ingratitude and callousness. Meanwhile, by extending an olive branch, Sun Jinghao could position himself as a discerning talent scout, disparaging Huafeng Pharmaceuticals while simultaneously vexing Su Botrally, a shrewd Tofurone strategy. A mere treacherous cur, indeed. Take him if you wish, however. I must caution you, Mr. Sun. Once you've taken Yekai, you may find it difficult to tame such a mutt. Su Boss' face grew colder, clearly displeased. "That won't trouble you, Mr. Su," Sun Jinghao replied, stretching out his hand as a subordinate quickly offered him a cigar. "The Sun family has methods to train dogs far superior to your own." With a dismissive snort, Su Bo turned to leave with Su Dong, only to find Sun Jinghao subtly blocking their exit. "What are you up to, Sun Jinghao?" "Relax, Chairman Su," Sun Jinghao said with a smile that betrayed nothing but an unsettling glee. His gaze shifted to Su Dong, narrowing into a calculating sliver. "Young brother, I am Sun Jinghao. May I inquire as to your esteemed name?" His tone was unnaturally courteous, laced with a thin veneer of camaraderie. As an old adversary of the Su family, Sun Jinghao was well acquainted with Su Boss' reputation. When had this imperious man ever deigned to treat another with such deference? Though he looked young, Su Dong was far from simple-minded. Seeing the focus shift toward him, Su Boss' expression changed. He could overlook the matter of Yekai, but not the potential implications regarding Su Dong. Su Dong was a master of acupuncture, even garnering praise from Dean Li. If he allied himself with this young man, it could greatly benefit Su's standing, possibly even facilitating a rise in stature for the entire Su family. Su Bo could not afford to lose Su Dong, whom he valued immensely, even after only a brief encounter. Yet now Sun Jinghao sought to poach him. This was intolerable. An internal oath against such treachery flared within Su Bo, and he stepped forward protectively. "I'm just an ordinary citizen. I do not merit such inquiries," Su Dong said with a calm smile, maintaining direct eye contact with Sun Jinghao. Sun Jinghao squinted, scrutinizing him with a piercing gaze that took its time. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he let out a light chuckle. "Young brother, I must say, that's an untruthful response. I know Chairman Su's discernment, well, he just offended you, which clearly indicates an unusual bond between you. The underlying challenge in Sun Jinghao's words hung heavily in the air, and his smile bore a mocking undertone. In the entire Donghai city, who was not aware of the antagonistic relationship between the Sun and Su families. A guest of the Su family was undeniably an enemy of the Sun family. This was an indisputable fact. Even if it was merely their first meeting, should Su Dong show any hint of favoritism, he would undoubtedly make an enemy of Sun Jinghao this very day. As these words settled in, the atmosphere grew palpably tense. Many guests exchanged furtive glances, unsure of how to respond. They recognized Sun Jinghao's maneuver for what it was, a clear attempt to force Su Dong into choosing sides. The young man stood at the precipice of a precarious situation. Yet, in the glaring spotlight of attention, Su Dong remained unfazed, unaffected by Sun Jinghao's intimidation. He met the older man's gaze with unabashed confidence, as if he were utterly unconcerned with the implications of status. One could not help but acknowledge the deep-seated transformation in Su Dong, who, having acquired the heavenly physician scripture, now bore an inner composure uncharacteristic of an ordinary person. Chairman Su's defense of me stems merely from my standing up against wrongdoing, an act of justice. I must take my leave now. With that, he smiled nonchalantly and strode away. I shall see Mr. Su off, Su Bo said with palpable relief, a grin spreading across his face. The satisfaction of witnessing Sun Jinghao's defeat filled him with happiness, while simultaneously piquing his curiosity about Su Dong. He knew that had it been anyone else, perhaps even sympathizing a figure like Sun Jinghao, they would be left flustered and shaken. Yet Su Dong displayed a steadfast demeanor throughout. There was something exceptional about him. This level of composure was beyond the reach of most. Watching their retreating figures, Sun Jinghao's expression darkened, his gaze flickering with unpredictable emotions. He could not believe that Su Dong and Su Bo's relationship was as simple as it appeared. Bring someone to me. Mr. Sun, one of his subordinates stepped forward, bowing respectfully. Investigate this young man's background, Sun Jinghao ordered, narrowing his eyes. Anyone who commands such attention from Su Bo cannot possibly be ordinary. Given the Sun family's influence in Donghai City, uncovering information about someone was hardly a challenge. Understood. The subordinate nodded and departed. Meanwhile, Su Bo and Su Dong stepped outside the hotel, surrounded by diverse gazes. Mr. Su, I apologize for my inadequate hospitality today. I would like to extend an invitation for a proper banquet in the future. I hope you will honor us. Su Dong smiled and waved his hand dismissively. It's just a small matter. Then, about my father's illness, Su Bo hesitated. Su Dong understood the unspoken concern. Rest assured, I will visit tomorrow as promised. Su Bo bowed his head in gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Su. As Su Dong made his way to the roadside and hailed a cab, he turned toward home. Minutes later, however, after stepping out of the vehicle, a sudden sharp pain stabbed through his head. After being locked up for so many years, my tolerance for alcohol has suffered. Noticing the lingering scent of alcohol, he sighed and decided to take a stroll in the nearby park to clear his head. Help! Someone! Suddenly, a faint, distressed cry pierced through a secluded alley, accompanied by the sound of fabric tearing. Su Dong instinctively halted, turning to look in the direction of the noise. Chapter 10. A Hero Saves a Beauty. In a narrow alley, several thugs surrounded a woman. Her exquisite beauty, with silky black hair cascading like a waterfall, radiated an ethereal charm that only heightened their excitement. However, her condition was far from ideal. Her fair face was flushed, her eyes were dazed, and her legs barely held her weight. Stand aside! Let me through! Get out of my way! She frantically swung her handbag, stumbling as she attempted to escape. Yet, the thugs were unwilling to lose their prey. They advanced with lewd laughter, their hands reaching out to grope her. Ha, what a body! Those legs are as white as milk. Don't struggle. Little lady, you should feel fortunate that Brother Dao has taken an interest in you. Exactly. If you know what's good for you, submit to our leader, and you'll never have to worry again. Laughter grew uproariously obnoxious, and the woman shut her eyes, screaming in desperation. She clawed at the air, but no escape was in sight, and despair washed over her as she realized her plight. Passers-by, taking notice of the commotion, cast wary glances toward the scene. What are you looking at? Scram! A burly man with tattoos covering his arms barked coldly from the side. It's Brother Dao. Gasps of fear rippled through the crowd, faces paling in alarm. Brother Dao was the tyrant of these streets, known for his petty cruelties. He harbored a vengeful spirit and never forgave a slight. The onlookers were merely ordinary citizens. They wouldn't dare provoke one so formidable. Seeing the crowd scatter in fright only swelled Brother Dao's sense of triumph, and he rubbed his hands together in delight. Little lady, dressed so skimpily, it's clear you're for our enjoyment. We understand you perfectly. Don't worry, Brother Dao will treat you just right, I assure you. His words were met with a chorus of laughter. Ha, indeed. Our boss knows how to please a lady. Stop resisting, no one can save you today. In this territory, everyone knew Brother Dao, and the thugs felt confident that no one would dare intervene. The woman's already rosy cheeks turned an even deeper shade as she listened to their predatory taunts. As Brother Dao approached with a lewd grin, the woman summoned all her strength and kicked at him with her high heel. However, Brother Dao, seasoned in encounters like these, effortlessly blocked her leg and grabbed at her. So smooth, smoother than chocolate, he chuckled as his hand trailed toward her abdomen. Get away! Get away! The woman cried, her voice laced with terror, fists clenched as she flailed ineffectually. Though her expression showed a haze of confusion, it also bore fierce determination. Seizing an opportunity, she lunged forward, aiming to break free. But Brother Dao was unwilling to let her slip through his grasp, reaching out with his swift hand. In that critical moment, a figure rushed in like a gale. Su Dong surged forward and sent Brother Dao crashing to the ground with a powerful kick. He quickly shed his shirt and draped it around the woman's shoulders, pulling her into his embrace. Are you all right? Are you hurt? His voice was steady and reassuring. Yet the woman seemed disoriented, muttering incoherently and appearing lost in her own thoughts. Su Dong detected a strong odor of alcohol emanating from her, causing him to furrow his brow. His mind processed the information swiftly. Patient status: confused consciousness. Cause: ingestion of a narcotic. Treatment method: acupuncture to clear meridians and expel the drug. Just as Su Dong gathered his thoughts, Brother Dao, with the help of his lackeys, staggered back to his feet. You bastard! He rubbed his aching chest and spat angrily on the ground. Who the hell are you to ruin my fun? Brother Dao eyed Su Dong with disdain and shouted, Put that filthy bitch down, kneel and apologize to me, and I might spare your pathetic life. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Never had he encountered someone bold enough to challenge him in such a way. He thought the man had a death wish. His lackeys joined in the jeering, emboldened by their superior numbers. Picking on a woman? What kind of tough guy are you? Su Dong gently set the woman down on the ground before standing tall. Damn it, Brother Dao fumed, realizing this newcomer was insufferably arrogant. He raised his hand, pointing a finger at Su Dong's face, shouting, Come on then, take him down. At his command, the thugs surrounded Su Dong, brandishing makeshift weapons and closing in like a vice. Su Dong remained composed despite his adrenaline surging, contemplating an escape. He may have gained physical strength during his time in prison, but he was still an ordinary person facing multiple opponents. In addition, the thugs were seasoned fighters. If a fight broke out, he would be overwhelmed. Suddenly, however, a glimmer ignited deep within Su Dong's eyes. In that instant, everything around him seemed to slow down. Their movements became clumsy, leaving multiple openings. It was as if time had stretched infinitely at that moment. What was happening? Su Dong was initially startled but then elated. It was undoubtedly the result of the Heavenly Physician's secret manual. This technique was indeed extraordinary. With newfound confidence, Su Dong plunged forward. You're asking for it. One thug sneered, seeing Su Dong's advance. The thugs charged at him, but Su Dong ducked under a knife aimed at him, his foot connecting sharply with one thug's chest. The force sent him flying backward, crashing into the wall, while another thug swung a beer bottle at Su Dong's head. To Su Dong, the thug's movement seemed exaggeratedly slow, and he evaded effortlessly, gripping the thug's neck and slamming him against the wall. With a resounding crash, the thug crumpled to the ground, dazed. Brother Dao's eyes widened in shock as a chill crept down his spine. What was this impossible reaction time? Did this guy have eyes in the back of his head? This was not just impressive, it was instinct honed into combat awareness. Only those with a substantial mastery of their craft possessed such extraordinary skills. Brother Dao, who had mingled with several tough characters in his past, recognized this prowess and ability rarely seen. To think he came out today simply to chase a woman, and now faced such a formidable opponent. With another crash, the alley was now a scene of chaos, with only Su Dong and Brother Dao left standing. The sounds of pained groans filled the space as the thugs curled into themselves, every gaze meeting Su Dong's with sheer terror. Su Dong clapped his hands and turned his piercing stare upon Brother Dao. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, Brother Dao trembled, his cigarette dropping to the ground.